everybody, Mike here with CAVU Farm. Welcome back to the channel. Today's going to be arts and crafts time on the farm. Probably in about a week or two. We're supposed to be getting some piglets, 8 piglets. They're getting shipped in, and I have to make some shelter for them. So this morning I went to the home center. I got some wood, and I just have to make another shelter for these pigs that are coming in. So we're going to put them in another place. We're not going to put them with the pigs that the existing pigs that we have right now. The pigs that we have right now are a little too big. Little pigs are going to be about 50 pounds. They're going to be small, so we want to keep them separate. So follow along, watch how I build this thing, and hopefully it'll be a good time. So before I start building, just like with everything on the farm, got to do the morning chore. So got to feed the pigs real quick, check on the small chickens, check on the big chickens, and that shouldn't take about a couple minutes. And then we can get to building. All right, let's check on the chickens. What's up, chicken? Check on the chickens' water. They'll probably need more. And the food should be okay, but I'll check on that too. All right, the chicken's water's good. Let's check on the bees' water. I'll give them some more. So this is the water that we have outside for the bees. They come and drink out of here. Their hives are right around the corner, and whenever they need water, they'll come and gather it up, take it back to the hive. Our Cornish cross meat chickens are they're getting bigger and bigger every day. They're really growing fast, and they go through maybe between 2 or 3 gallons of water a day, and so they mostly drink most of their water in the morning. But I'll be sure to we'll be sure to check on them, I don't know, in the morning and the evening, make sure they have plenty of water and plenty of food. Those hydrants that we have, they're considered frostless. They go down into, I guess, a water line that's kind of connected to our well. And when you close them or turn off the water, they drain all the water down into the ground. It goes like about 2 feet down. So whenever you're done filling up whatever you want with water, just got to make sure that the handle's all the way down. If not, the water stays in the pipe, and in the wintertime it could freeze, and last thing you want is some water line to freeze and then crack and break. And that would be a mess to dig up in the wintertime. Let's go feed the pigs. Piggy! What's in your ear? Let me get that. Got it. Try to keep this grass watered so that way it grows, because that's what the pigs are eating. So I'm trying to debate if I should leave the sprinkler over there or move it right here. I'll move it. All right, let's get to building this shelter for the pigs. One of the things we need, sawhorses. Helps keep things up so I don't have to bend over and move things around. It just makes it a lot easier. I got all my tools over here, most of them anyway, for now. I'm going to be building this shelter in the shed in this first bay, but in order to do that, I got to move that tractor out of the way. Let me get the keys. In a previous video, I said the John Deere dealer took the tractor with them to do some work on it. There was some recall stuff, and then I was having problems shifting. So they installed a couple things that helps you get the tractor into a certain range. And they also did a recall on the tractor, and what it does is inside the transmission there's a little sensor that picks up metal shavings, and if it picks up too many metal shavings, it won't let the tractor get into gear, so that way you can't drive it and cause more damage to itself. So it was just some recall thing, and I guess they put in a new part, and now I can't get the tractor into B range. So right now I'm in neutral. The stick is in neutral. When I put it into B, this is the B range, and then nothing, it stays in. But I can go into A, it goes into A range, it goes into C, here's D, but here's B, it doesn't go into B. Folks out there that have tractors, I'm sure you have your favorite gear and range and all that you do most of your work in. For me, when it comes to mowing or whatever, B, for me, B is used, I would say, 90% of the time. So we are trying to sell some of our sand. We have some people that coming by to get sand, and to be in A range, it does take a lot longer to get the job done, but hopefully they'll be able to come up with a fix for this, so that way I can use the B range, the thing I use like all the time. That's my default go-to range that I go to. So in the meantime, I'm stuck with A or C, and I don't really use D too much unless I'm driving out on the road. So let me get this tractor moved out of this bay, and then I can show you what I'm going to do to build this cover for our new piggies. This shelter is going to be used outside, exclusively outside, so most of this wood is pressure treated wood, and there are a couple gaps that go along the top of this where the plywood meets the kind of the ridge line. I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna try to put some shingles up there, and now all that does is help keep the rain from falling down inside this enclosure. So some of the tools you're going to need to do this little DIY project. You're going to need a saw. Also, to help do that, I also have a speed square. So that helps cut things straight. Hammer for nails. You will need some kind of tape measure. I'm going to use a air nailer, nail gun. If you use a nail gun, make sure you have lots of nails, because it's really fun. And sometimes you end up putting 3, 4, 5 nails where you'd only need maybe 2 or 3. I bought 5 2x4x8. 3 of the 2x4x8s that are pressure treated. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2x4x10. These things are 10, and then a 2x6x10. It's the one on the far side. That's going to be the ridge beam. Here's the plywood, just thin plywood. It's going to get nailed down to the rafters. But I'm going to leave that inside the truck, so I don't need it right away until pretty much the very end. So to get started, I need to make the base of this thing. So I'm going to make the two 10-foot pieces. That's going to be two 2x4x10s that are going to be sandwiched together, nailed. It's just going to be a little bit stronger to have 2 of them there. You don't have to, but I did with the other one, so I'm going to do that with this one. All right, I got both of these 2x4x10s sandwiched together with a clamp. Now what I have to do is kind of lay out where I'm gonna be putting these rafters, all right? So obviously one's gonna be all the way on the outside on this side, one's gonna be all the way on the outside on the other side. Let's go ahead and measure so that way I can draw some lines on here. The first line is gonna be at 1.5 inches because these 2x4s are 1.5 inches. It's not 2 inches, but 1.5 inches. So I have to make room for that. The next one's gonna be at 2 feet, 24 inches. And here's the 10-foot line right here. So as you can see, this wood is like 10 feet, 1 inch, 10 feet, 3/4 of an inch. So before I really get to town on this stuff, I'm gonna have to trim that stuff off just so the hay lay out straight. So that way I don't build it crooked. It should go without saying that if you're gonna use any kind of power tools like saws, even if they're hand saws, make sure you wear eye protection. Last thing you or anybody needs is a splinter in the eye, and that I'm sure would not feel good. I have the inside piece of wood trimmed up so that way when it's time to put the front end of this thing on, it'll sit inside just like that, and it'll get nailed in. So let me go ahead and nail these two pieces together, and then I can set this side up, can nail that all in together. All right, now that we have most of the base squared away, now I have to cut the rafters. I do have this template I made from the last time that I made the shelter for the pigs. This is a 45 degree, the bird foot, which is right here, that which sits on the base. And also what I did was I indicated, I don't know if you can see right there, I indicated how far I have to set my circular sawtooth to cut these. It's called a bird's foot. So that way it sits on properly. I did all the measurements before. Now all I have to do is just mark out on these 2x4x8s and start cutting. All right, I used the template. I marked right here where the bird's foot is. This is an 8-foot piece of wood. I drew the 45 degree, which matches this. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this, and that will leave me this piece of wood, and I can make a matching rafter off of this one. All right, now I got to cut the bird's foot, which is right there on the template, and I indicated it with the markings right there. So I got to go and cut all 10 of these. All right, now I have all these rafters cut. Now there's one thing I have to do so that way this thing turns out kind of straight is the ridge beam, which is this 2x6x10. It has to match up and have the same markings that I put on these, like right there and right there. So I know the markings on the left and right side are identical. I indicated that they're all, on the same side, all the way on the bottom. That's how it makes sense to me. Now what I got to do, I got to take one of these sides, put up on the sawhorse, put the ridge beam up there, and then I can mark along the way. I can measure it also, which either 6 or 1/2 a dozen, doesn't really matter. But let me go ahead and do that, so that way I can start to nailing this thing together. This 2x6x10 feet, it's just a little long, so let me go ahead and cut that off. So I got both left and right side of this enclosure cut. I got the rafters cut. Everything is good there. Now I just have to cut 64 inches with the 2x4, and that's going to be the two open ends. That's what's going to kind of tie everything together. So if my math works out right, and I'm building this basically the same as the other one, I need to cut these at 64 inches. Let me go ahead and do that. Now the fun part starts. Now we get to start nailing this thing together, and it'll start looking like a shelter for the pigs. So let me go ahead and set up the camera so that way you can see me nailing all these things together. So I have the rafters all tacked in right now. I'll put some more nails in here in a minute, but now I can connect the ridge beam. I just want to make sure I leave a little bit of space. I'm not going to connect all the way at the top. I'll give it maybe a 1/4 inch, so that way the plywood will butt up against that beam. I have the ridge beam tacked in right now. I'll put a couple sawhorses under there to stand it up and just make it easier. I can start nailing in the other half. All right, we're almost done with making our little 10-foot pig enclosure. I got everything nailed in. I even put a couple of these support brackets here, just give it a little bit of extra strength. But next thing I have to do, grab the plywood and put that on the roof. Let's get that done. Here's the enclosure. I have most of the roof on. Just from here to here, it's a 2-foot section. I bought another piece of plywood. So I'll cut 2 feet off of that and then nail it in. And then it's just about done. All right, here's the pig shelter. It's done. I went ahead and put some shingles right on top, and that was to help keep any rain from getting down inside. Just purely as, you know, just to keep the weather out. Nice 10-foot long enclosure. Looks pretty good. The holes right there provide a little bit of ventilation in the summertime, and then in the wintertime I'll go ahead and put some straw in here for the pigs, and that will get plugged up with straw. Well, that's it, pretty much it for the day. I have a couple evening chores to take care of. Got to get some eggs, make sure the chickens have food, water, feed the pigs, maybe clean up this area just a little bit, but other than that, I'm almost done for the day. Gonna go inside and make some dinner. Really appreciate you sticking around, watching how I make this pig enclosure, so that way our baby pigs that are coming, our 8 baby pigs that are coming here in about a week or so, how their new digs, you're able to see me make that. So really appreciate you watching, supporting the channel. Thank you very much, and like always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends, family, loved ones, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks again.